The sun had barely peeked over the horizon when the tranquility of New Delhi's outskirts was shattered by an ear-splitting roar. Farmers tending to their early morning chores looked up in awe and terror as a massive, smoldering object tore through the sky, leaving a trail of blue-green fire in its wake. Anika Patel, a young air traffic controller at Indira Gandhi International Airport, was the first to notice the anomaly on her radar. Her hands trembled as she grabbed the comm, barking out a warning to her superiors. Unidentified object on rapid descent. It's not responding to any signals. The alien craft, for it could be nothing else, careened towards the Earth, its hull glowing white-hot from atmospheric entry. It skidded across fallow fields, carving a half-kilometer trench before coming to rest in a mangled heap of otherworldly metal and circuitry. Within minutes, the crash site was swarming with local police, emergency responders, and curious onlookers held back by hastily erected barricades. Dr. Vikram Aluwalia, a xenobiologist who had long been ridiculed for his belief in extraterrestrial life, elbowed his way to the front of the crowd. His eyes widened behind thick glasses as he took in the impossible scene before him. "It's real," he whispered, his voice barely audible above the chaos. "They're here." As the Indian military scrambled jets and mobilized ground forces, a team of hazmat-suited scientists cautiously approached the wreckage. The acrid smell of burnt alien alloys filled the air, making their eyes water even through protective gear. Suddenly, a section of the craft's hull shifted with a hydraulic hiss. The scientists stumbled backward, weapons were raised, and a collective gasp rippled through the crowd. A spindly, six-limbed figure emerged, its iridescent skin pulsing weakly with bioluminescent patterns. The alien's multifaceted eyes darted frantically from person to person before it collapsed onto the scorched earth. In that moment of vulnerability, Dr. Aluwalia made a decision that would alter the course of human history. He rushed forward, breaking through the police line, and knelt beside the fallen creature. "I'm here to help," he said softly, unsure if it could understand. "You're safe." The alien's mandibles clicked rapidly, producing a series of high-pitched chirps and warbles. Dr. Aluwalia fumbled with his phone, activating the xenolinguistics app he'd developed years ago, but never had the chance to test. To everyone's amazement, a halting translation crackled through the device's speakers. "Danger, coming. Must. Warn." Before anyone could react, the alien's exoskeleton split open, revealing a pulsating organ. It extended a trembling appendage, touching Dr. Aluwalia's forehead. The scientist's eyes rolled back as his mind was flooded with a torrent of images and information. He saw vast armadas clashing among the stars, worlds burning, and at the center of it all, Earth, our pale blue dot, unwittingly at the heart of a conflict that spanned galaxies. As the connection broke, Dr. Aluwalia gasped for air. The alien shuddered once, twice, and then lay still, its bioluminescence fading to darkness. "Get me the Prime Minister," Dr. Aluwalia croaked, his voice hoarse with urgency. Now. But it was already too late. High above, beyond the wispy cirrus clouds and the thin veil of Earth's atmosphere, space itself seemed to ripple and tear. Massive ships, each larger than the world's biggest cities, began to materialize in orbit. As panic erupted across the globe, as world leaders were rushed to secure bunkers, as military forces scrambled in futile preparation, humanity collectively held its breath. First contact had arrived, not with a whisper, but with the thunder of an armada poised to engulf the Earth. The dawn of a new era had broken, and with it came the terrifying realization. We were no longer alone, and our very existence hung in the balance. The United Nations Security Council chamber crackled with tension as world leaders, hastily assembled via holographic projections, faced the alien ambassadors. The extraterrestrial delegates towered over their human counterparts, their chitinous exoskeletons gleaming under the harsh lights. "You have 5 of your Earth hours," the lead ambassador's words reverberated through the room. Translated by advanced AI. "Aid us in defeating our enemy, or your world will be reduced to cosmic dust." Panic erupted among the delegates. Accusations flew, military options were debated and discarded. As the shouting reached a fever pitch, a calm voice cut through the chaos. "I believe I have a solution." All eyes turned to Dr. Elena Volkov, Secretary General of the UN. Her steely gaze swept the room. "But it requires us to think beyond conventional warfare." Within minutes, a classified video conference connected the world's most unorthodox think tank. On screens around the globe appeared three faces: General Marcus "Mad Dog" Riven, discharged from the U.S. Army for his controversial tactics; Zhou Chen, a 17-year-old hacker prodigy with a rap sheet longer than her impressive academic records; and Dr. Amit Patel, a quantum physicist whose theories were deemed too radical by the scientific community. "Ladies and gentlemen," Dr. Volkov addressed the unlikely trio, "the fate of our world rests in your hands." As the team was briefed on the situation, Zhou's fingers flew across her keyboard, diving deep into the alien networks. Her eyes widened. "Guys, we've got a bigger problem. These aliens, they're not here to recruit us. They're farming us." Dr. Patel leaned forward, his brow furrowed. "Farming? For what purpose?" "Energy," Zhou replied, her voice grim. "Both factions, they've been cultivating humanity for centuries, guiding our technological progress. We're batteries to them. And now we're ripe for harvesting." The revelation hit like a physical blow. Humanity, proud of its achievements, was nothing more than cattle to these advanced civilizations. General Riven's scared face hardened. "Then we fight. Not for them, but for ourselves." "With what?" Dr. Patel exclaimed. "Their technology is centuries beyond ours." A sly smile crept across Zhou's face. "Maybe not. I've found vulnerabilities in their systems. Backdoors they never thought to close because they assumed we were too primitive to exploit them. And I have some theories about manipulating quantum fields that might just turn their own tech against them." Dr. Patel added, a spark of excitement in his eyes. General Riven nodded, a plan already forming. "We'll need to act fast and hit them where they least expect it." Psychological warfare combined with technological sabotage. As the team debated strategies, Dr. Volkov interrupted. "Whatever you're planning, make it quick. We have 4 hours and 37 minutes left." The gravity of the situation settled over the group. 4.5 hours to save humanity from extinction or enslavement. The odds were astronomical, the enemies overwhelming, and the stakes couldn't be higher. General Riven took a deep breath. "All right, here's what we're going to do. Zhou, I need you to infiltrate their communication systems. Dr. Patel, start working on a way to disrupt their quantum tech. I'll coordinate with what's left of Earth's military forces for a multi-pronged assault." As the team sprang into action, a notification flashed on Zhou's screen. The alien ships were powering up their primary weapons. The countdown to humanity's final stand had begun. Dr. Volkov watched the frenetic activity with a mixture of hope and trepidation. In less than 5 hours, the fate of every man, woman, and child on Earth would be decided. The question that hung in the air was chilling. Would humanity's finest hour also be its last? Zhou Chen's fingers danced across her holographic keyboard, her eyes darting between dozens of floating screens. The alien code was unlike anything she'd ever seen. A beautiful, terrifying symphony of logic and quantum mechanics. "I'm in," she announced, her voice barely above a whisper. "Their systems are. They're alive, almost. Self-aware." General Riven leaned over her shoulder, his battle-worn face illuminated by the eerie glow of alien algorithms. "Can you control them?" Zhou shook her head. "Not control. But I can confuse them." With a few keystrokes, she injected a series of commands into the alien network. At first, nothing happened. Then, high above the Earth, chaos erupted. Massive alien ships began to drift off course, their navigation systems suddenly unreliable. Weapons powered down at random, life support systems flickered, and communication arrays broadcast gibberish across all frequencies. "What did you do?" Dr. Patil asked, awe evident in his voice. Zoe allowed herself a small smile. "I introduced a quantum uncertainty virus. Their AIs can't distinguish between real and false inputs anymore." The effect was immediate and catastrophic for the alien armada. Ships collided, their once perfect formation dissolving into a dangerous cosmic ballet of metal and energy. On Earth, military commanders watched in disbelief as the invincible alien force descended into disarray. General Riven seized the moment. "All units, this is Mad Dog. Execute Operation Slingshot. I repeat, execute Operation Slingshot." Around the globe, hastily modified human spacecraft launched, piloted by volunteers fully aware of their likely one-way mission. They weaved through the chaos of the alien fleet, targeting specific ships identified by Zoe's hacking. "There," Zoe shouted, pointing at a massive vessel on her central screen. "That's their command ship, if we can capture it." General Riven was already on it. "Bravo team, redirect to these coordinates. Board that ship at all costs." As Earth's forces engaged, Dr. Patil worked furiously on his quantum equations. "If I'm right," he muttered, "we can use their own gravitational tethers against them." A notification pinged on Zoe's screen. "Bravo team is aboard the alien ship." The next few minutes were tense as the small human force fought their way through the alien vessel. Suddenly, the ship's external weapons powered down. "They've done it," General Riven breathed. "They've taken the bridge." But their victory was short-lived. Alarms blared across Zoe's system. "Multiple ships are powering up their main cannons," she reported, fear creeping into her voice. "They're targeting major cities." Dr. Patil slammed his hand on the console. "It's ready. Zoe, upload this code to the captured ship." Zoe didn't hesitate. As the alien weapons reached full charge, a strange ripple emanated from the captured command ship. It spread quickly, enveloping the entire fleet. The effect was instantaneous. Alien ships found themselves pulled towards each other, their own gravitational technology turned against them. What was once an organized armada became a swirling vortex of colliding vessels. "It worked," Dr. Patil shouted, laughing in disbelief. "We've created a localized gravity well." As they watched, the alien fleet collapsed in on itself, ships crumpling like tin cans under the immense gravitational forces. General Riven allowed himself a grim smile. "Good work, team. But this is just the beginning. We've bloodied their nose, but you can bet they've got reinforcements on the way." Zoe nodded, already turning back to her screens. "And we've still got 2 alien factions to deal with. The real war is just starting." As if to punctuate her words, a new alert flashed across her display. More ships were appearing at the edge of the solar system. The team shared a look of determination. They had won the first battle, but the war for Earth's survival was far from over. And the clock was still ticking. Dr. Amit Patel stood before a hastily assembled group of scientists and military personnel, his eyes gleaming with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. "What if I told you we could weaponize uncertainty itself?" The room fell silent, all eyes fixed on the disheveled quantum physicist. General Riven leaned forward, intrigued. "Go on, Doctor." Patil took a deep breath. "We've observed that the alien technology relies heavily on quantum principles, but what if we could manipulate the very fabric of reality they depend on?" He gestured to a complex series of equations floating in the holographic display. "By exploiting the observer effect and quantum entanglement on a massive scale, we can create sensory illusions that are indistinguishable from reality." Zoe, who had been furiously typing away at her console, looked up. "You mean we can make them see things that aren't there?" "Not just see," Patil corrected, his voice tinged with awe. "Experience. In every possible way." Within hours, the plan was set in motion. Patil's team had rigged a series of quantum emitters around the planet, while Zoe worked to integrate the system with the aliens' own sensory networks. Ready when you are, Zoe announced, her finger hovering over the execute command. Patel nodded, sweat beading on his forehead. Initiate Project Nightmare. The effect was immediate and terrifying. Across the alien fleet, alarms blared as sensors detected phantom threats materializing out of nowhere. Massive black holes appeared to open up in space, threatening to swallow entire battle groups. Planet-killing weapons that didn't exist suddenly aimed themselves at alien homeworlds. On Earth, the team watched in amazement as the once coordinated alien forces fell into disarray. "It's working," Zoe exclaimed, her eyes wide as she monitored the alien communications. "They're seeing things we can't even imagine." General Riven studied the tactical displays, watching as alien ships fled from invisible terrors or fired at non-existent enemies. "We're inside their heads now. Let's press the advantage." But Dr. Patel looked concerned. "We need to be careful. The more we manipulate reality, the more unstable the quantum field becomes. If we push too far." His warning was cut short as a violent tremor shook the command center. Outside, the sky flickered like a faulty neon sign. "What's happening?" General Riven demanded. Zoe's fingers flew across her keyboard. "The alien flagship is trying to counteract our quantum manipulations. They're tearing holes in reality." Dr. Patel rushed to his equipment, frantically adjusting parameters. "If we don't stabilize the field, we could cause a cascade failure. It would make a nuclear explosion look like a firecracker." As they worked to contain the quantum chaos, reports flooded in from around the globe. People were witnessing impossible phenomena. Cities floating in the sky, oceans turning to glass, time itself seeming to flow backwards in localized areas. "We've opened Pandora's box," Patel muttered, his face pale. Yet amidst the chaos, a pattern emerged. The alien forces, faced with a reality they could no longer trust, began to retreat. Entire fleets jumped to hyperspace, fleeing the incomprehensible terrors that human ingenuity had unleashed. As the immediate threat receded, the team allowed themselves a moment of relief. But it was short-lived. "We've driven them back," General Riven acknowledged, "but at what cost? Can we even trust our own senses anymore?" Dr. Patel shook his head slowly. "The quantum field is severely destabilized. We've changed the rules of physics itself, and I'm not sure we can change them back." Zoe, still monitoring the alien communications, suddenly sat up straight. "Guys, we've got a bigger problem. The other alien faction. They've just entered the solar system, and they do not look happy." The team shared a grim look. They had won a battle by bending reality itself, but with a new threat looming and the very fabric of the universe unraveling around them, it was clear that their greatest challenges still lay ahead. General Riven's scared face was illuminated by the soft glow of holographic displays. His eyes narrowed as he outlined his audacious plan. "We're going to surrender." The statement was met with stunned silence, then an eruption of protests from the assembled team. "Have you lost your mind?" Dr. Patel exclaimed, his usual calm demeanor shattered. Riven raised a hand, silencing the room. "Not a real surrender. A Trojan horse." Zoe, catching on quickly, leaned forward. "We let them think they've won, then strike from within." "Exactly," Riven nodded. "And I'll be leading the strike team personally." The next few hours were a flurry of activity. As Earth's remaining military forces made a show of standing down, a small team of elite soldiers and scientists, led by General Riven, prepared for the most dangerous mission in human history. Zoe worked tirelessly, creating foolproof fake IDs and backstories for each team member. Dr. Patel, meanwhile, developed a series of microscopic quantum devices that could bypass alien security systems. As the alien flagship loomed over New York City, casting an ominous shadow over the skyline, humanity's fate hung in the balance. The surrender was broadcast globally. General Riven, now dressed in civilian clothes, led a group of dejected-looking prisoners onto the alien ship. As the massive doors closed behind them, cutting off Earth from view, the true mission began. Inside the alien vessel was a maze of biomechanical corridors, pulsing with an otherworldly energy. The team moved silently, guided by Zoe's voice in their earpieces as she hacked into the ship's systems from Earth. "Two guards approaching," she whispered. "Take the next left." As they delved deeper into the heart of the ship, Dr. Patel's quantum devices proved invaluable, allowing them to pass through force fields and bypass security checkpoints undetected. But it wasn't long before they encountered their first major obstacle. A massive chamber filled with what looked like thousands of glowing pods, each containing a swirling mist of energy. "My God," one of the scientists whispered, "these are human souls." Riven's face hardened. "They've been harvesting us for longer than we thought." "Zoe, are you seeing this?" Back on Earth, Zoe's fingers flew across her keyboard, analyzing the data streaming in. "It's worse than we imagined. These aliens haven't just been cultivating us for energy. They've been farming our consciousness itself." The revelation hit the team like a physical blow. Humanity wasn't just facing extinction. It was facing something far worse: eternal enslavement. As they stood there, grappling with the horrifying truth, alarms suddenly blared throughout the ship. They'd been discovered. "Move," Riven shouted, leading the team deeper into the vessel as alien security forces converged on their position. They'd fought their way through, using a combination of Earth weapons and hastily repurposed alien technology. But with each passing moment, their chances of success dwindled. Finally, they reached the ship's core, a massive, pulsating orb of energy that seemed to defy the laws of physics. "This is it," Riven said, setting the charges they'd brought. "Once this blows, the whole ship goes down." But as they worked, a cold alien voice echoed through the chamber. "Foolish humans. Did you really think we wouldn't anticipate your primitive strategies?" The team turned to find themselves surrounded by alien forces, weapons trained on them from every angle. The alien leader stepped forward, its multifaceted eyes gleaming with malevolent intelligence. "Your species has been a fascinating experiment, but I'm afraid it's time for the harvest to begin." As hope seemed lost, Riven locked eyes with his team. They had one last card to play, but it would require the ultimate sacrifice. The fate of humanity now balanced on a knife's edge, with mere minutes left on the clock. General Riven's hand hovered over the detonator, a grim smile playing on his lips. "You're right about one thing," he addressed the alien leader. "We are primitive, which means we're really good at one thing: surviving." With a nod to his team, Riven pressed the button. Instead of an explosion, a high-pitched whine filled the air. The alien forces stumbled, their advanced sensory organs overwhelmed by the sonic assault. "Now," Riven shouted. In that moment of confusion, the human strike team sprang into action. They'd trained for this, rehearsing their moves countless times on Earth. Each member knew their role perfectly. Dr. Petal rushed to the ship's core, his quantum devices interfacing with the alien technology. "I'm in," he shouted over the cacophony. Initiating power drain. The massive energy orb at the center of the chamber began to flicker and pulse erratically. Throughout the ship, lights dimmed and systems faltered. Back on Earth, Zoe's eyes widened as she monitored the situation. "It's working. The flagship's losing power, and, wait, it's spreading to the entire fleet." The alien leader, recovering from the sonic attack, lunged at Riven. "You'll doom us all," it hissed. Riven met the alien's charge, grappling with the creature in a desperate hand-to-hand combat. "Better that than slavery," he grunted, using every ounce of his military training to hold his own against the physically superior being. As the battle raged both in the ship and across the solar system, Dr. Patel worked feverishly at the alien console. "I figured it out," he shouted. "Their entire fleet is connected through a quantum entanglement network. If we can overload it, do it," Riven ordered, narrowly dodging a vicious swipe from the alien leader. Dr. Patel took a deep breath and initiated the sequence. The effect was immediate and catastrophic for the alien forces. Ships across the solar system began to lose power, their sophisticated technology rendered useless by the cascading failure. On Earth, military forces that had been in hiding seized the moment. Retrofitted fighter jets took to the skies, engaging the now vulnerable alien ships. Hastily assembled energy weapons, reverse-engineered from crashed alien tech, fired from ground installations. "This is Earth Defense Command to all units," a voice crackled over the global military frequency. "The tide has turned. Push them back." In the alien flagship, Riven's team fought desperately to hold their position. The ship shuddered and groaned around them as systems failed catastrophically. "General," one of the soldiers called out, "we've got to go. This whole place is coming apart." Riven, still locked in combat with the alien leader, nodded grimly. "Get to the escape pods. That's an order." As his team reluctantly retreated, Riven turned to Dr. Patel. "Doc, you too. Earth needs that brain of yours." Patel hesitated for a moment, then nodded, understanding the unspoken message in Riven's eyes. As he ran, he called back over his shoulder, "It's been an honor, General." Left alone with the alien leader, Riven tightened his grip. "Looks like we're going down together. Ugly." The alien's multifaceted eyes seemed to show a glimmer of respect. "You've doomed your species, human. Our reinforcements will. We'll find Earth ready and waiting." Riven interrupted. "Humanity's done being your science experiment." As the flagship began to break apart around them, Riven allowed himself a small smile. They'd turned the tide, given Earth a fighting chance. Now it was up to those left behind to finish the job. In the vacuum of space, the alien flagship erupted in a brilliant explosion, taking with it the secrets of eons and the sacrifice of a few brave souls who had changed the course of human history. As the alien flagship disintegrated in Earth's orbit, a wave of jubilation swept across the planet. But the celebration was short-lived. Zoe's voice, tense and urgent, cut through the cheers in the command center. "We've got a problem. A big one." On the main screen, a menacing countdown appeared, ticking away from 4 minutes. Dr. Patel, who had just been extracted from the escape pod, rushed to Zoe's side. "What is that?" he demanded, his face pale. Zoe's fingers flew across her keyboard. "It's some kind of doomsday device. The aliens activated it just before the flagship went down. If we don't stop it, Earth dies anyway," someone finished grimly. The room erupted into chaos as military commanders shouted orders and scientists franched for solutions. But amid the pandemonium, Zoe and Dr. Patel shared a look of determination. "We can stop this," Zoe said, her voice barely above a whisper. Patel nodded, "But we'll need to work fast." As the countdown ticked past 3 minutes, the unlikely duo got to work. Zoe dove deep into the alien code, searching for vulnerabilities in the doomsday device's defenses. Dr. Patel, meanwhile, applied his quantum expertise to unravel the device's fundamental structure. "It's like nothing we've ever seen," Patel muttered, his brow furrowed in concentration. "It's not just a weapon. It's reshaping reality itself." Zoe nodded, not looking up from her screens. "I'm seeing it in the code. It's like it's trying to erase Earth from existence." 2 minutes left. Around the world, people huddled together, eyes fixed on screens displaying the ominous countdown. In cities and rural villages alike, humanity collectively held its breath. In orbit, the remnants of Earth's hastily assembled space fleet positioned themselves around the doomsday device, ready to make a last, desperate attempt to destroy it physically if all else failed. 1 minute remaining. "I've got it," Zoe suddenly shouted. "There's a backdoor in the quantum encryption. But I need a key." Dr. Patel's eyes lit up. "The quantum signature, if we can match the frequency." Their hands moved in a blur, Zoe's expertise in hacking melding seamlessly with Patel's quantum knowledge. Lines of code mixed with complex equations as they raced against time. 30 seconds. "It's not enough," Zoe said, her voice cracking with frustration. "We need more processing power." Without hesitation, Dr. Patel reached for the neural interface they had reverse-engineered from alien tech. "Use my brain," he said. "Link me in." Zoe's eyes widened. "But the risk." "Just do it." As the neural link activated, Patel's body convulsed. His mind merged with the alien systems, processing data at an inhuman speed. 10 seconds. 9. 8. Zoe worked furiously, guided by Patel's quantum-enhanced insights. 3. 2. 1. The world held its breath. And then, silence. For a heart-stopping moment, nothing happened. Then, slowly, the doomsday device began to power down. Around the globe, cheers erupted as the threat ticker disappeared from screens. In the command center, Zoe let out a sob of relief, but her joy was short-lived as she turned to Dr. Patel. The scientist lay motionless, blood trickling from his nose. "Medic!" Zoe screamed, cradling Patel's head. "Stay with me, Doc. We did it. We saved the world." Patel's eyes fluttered open, a weak smile playing on his lips. "No, Zoe, you saved the world. I just provided the processing power." As medical teams rushed in, the weight of their achievements settled over the room. They had stared into the abyss, faced extinction, and emerged victorious. But as reports of strange phenomena began to flood in from around the globe, inexplicable energy readings, temporal anomalies, glimpses of other realities, it became clear that their victory had come at a cost. The war was over, but its consequences were only beginning to unfold. As the first rays of sunlight pierced the smoke-filled sky, humanity emerged from shelters to face a world forever changed. The alien threat had been neutralized, but Earth bore the scars of its most harrowing battle. In the command center, now a hub of frenetic activity, Zoe sat vigil by Dr. Patel's bedside. The brilliant scientist, still recuperating from his neural interface ordeal, opened his eyes. "Did we really do it?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. Zoe nodded, tears in her eyes. "We did. But the world, it's different now." Outside, the consequences of their desperate gambit were becoming clear. The quantum manipulations and reality-bending technologies employed in the battle had left their mark on the fabric of existence itself. Reports flooded in from around the globe. Gravitational anomalies causing objects to float in midair, temporal bubbles where time moved at different speeds, even sightings of alternate versions of people and places flickering in and out of existence. As world leaders gathered in an emergency UN session, broadcast to billions worldwide, a somber mood settled over humanity. The alien invasion had been repelled, but at what cost? Dr. Elena Volkov, still serving as the face of Earth's response, addressed the world. "Today, we stand at the dawn of a new era. We have faced our greatest challenge and emerged victorious. But our victory has changed us, changed our world, in ways we are only beginning to understand." She paused, her expression a mixture of determination and uncertainty. "The aliens sought to harvest us, to exploit us for our potential. In defeating them, we have unlocked that potential. We now possess technologies and understanding beyond our wildest dreams. But with this power comes great responsibility." As she spoke, scenes from around the world played on screens behind her. Scientists cautiously examining shimmering portals that had appeared in major cities, military personnel corralling creatures that seemed to be cross-dimensional refugees, ordinary citizens discovering newfound abilities to manipulate the quantum field. "We must unite," Volkov continued, "not just as nations, but as a species. The barriers between realities have been weakened. We may face new threats, new challenges from beyond our universe, but we will face them together." In the command center, Zoe helped Dr. Patel to his feet. Together, they watched as humanity took its first tentative steps into a new age. "What do we do now?" Zoe asked, her voice tinged with both excitement and fear. Patel smiled, his eyes gleaming with the possibilities before them. "Now, my dear, we explore. We learn. We grow. The aliens thought they were cultivating us for their own ends. Instead, they've unleashed our true potential. As if to underscore his words, a holographic display sprang to life before them, showing a three-dimensional map of the galaxy. But this was no ordinary star chart. It pulsed with quantum data, showing wormholes, alternate dimensions, and pathways to realms beyond human understanding. "Look," Patel breathed, his hand tracing a path through the stars. "We're not alone out there, but we're no longer helpless either." Zoe nodded, a determined smile spreading across her face. "Then let's get to work. We've got a universe to explore." As the sun rose fully on this new day, humanity stood united, poised on the brink of an unprecedented era of discovery and advancement. The alien invasion, meant to be their end, had instead become their beginning. Earth had not just survived, it had evolved. And the cosmos would never be the same.